is Donnie. I'm here in Cambodia, serving here with the patient care ministry at New Life Foundation. I went to Grang Tanong in Takao, and what I was doing was I was teaching at the church there, in an English class there. We decided, well, with my friends, it was just before the water festival, and we thought, well, let's go to Phnom Penh and maybe we can go see the water festival. The next day, got on our motos. I was driving a small moto and there was another moto with us. And on the way back to Phnom Penh,
of the 6th November 2003, there's something, like really unplanned. We were on our way back to the city.
I was heading back and I was passing these slow vehicles. I was passing one and I looked down and I looked up and then there was a vehicle coming straight for me. Next I remember is laying in a ditch near the road. I could see the grass beside me and I could see my legs were in a bad position. I was like, oh my goodness, it's gotta hurt. But actually I was in shock at the time and I wasn't feeling a lot of pain. And then my friends that were on the other motorbike came to my rescue and they got a person with a coconut cart. And they put me in this coconut cart. First they sat me up and then they said, I didn't look so good. So then they laid me down in the coconut cart with my legs dangling out, broken and not looking too good. I kind of don't remember all the coconut cart ride. Their plan was to take me all the way to Phnom Penh. And back then, the roads were not that good. There was a lot of potholes and it was dirt roads. They got so far and they said, we need to stop. And so they just went to a rural clinic back on the way. And they stopped there and they had already phoned the church. People from the church came and to help me. One of them was Dave Fisher and one was Pastor Chuck McCall. And they just came and kind of worked on the situation. While I was at that clinic, they put me on IV fluids and they were just kind of waiting for ambulance to come and pick me up. And I can remember seeing all the people around. I wasn't totally sure what all happened to me. I could see my legs were in a weird position, but I didn't know the extent of it all. Later on, the ambulance arrived and they put me on a stretcher and then they put me into the ambulance. And that was when I started feeling a lot of pain. I guess I was coming out of shock at that time. And so I was just in a lot of pain as the bumps on the road and going through all those potholes. And I arrived at SOS Hospital and they checked me over and they said that my hemoglobin level was that of a dead man already. And my friends from the church came and visited me and they could see that I was in bad condition. And I knew that they were crying and I knew that things weren't good. And I just told them, can you just sing for me? Sing a Khmer song for me. And they did that and I just felt God's peace over me at that time. And I didn't know what was going to happen with me, but I felt God was saying, I'm in control. I'm going to take care of you. And so I just trusted God. I had so much peace. It was that peace that passes all understanding that it talks about in the Bible. And at the hospital, they put me in traction. I didn't really realize that I did break my neck. They had me, my legs straightened out, but they said it was beyond what they could do, so that I had to have an evacuation flight to Bangkok hospital. At that time, I was in and out of consciousness, and I was pretty drugged up. Asked, how is Pekre doing? At the start, they said Pekre was doing okay. The guy that was with me sitting behind me in the moto. But they didn't really realize extensive internal damage that he had to his pelvis and his groin area. But they just said he's not as bad as you. He didn't break all the bones like you did. And so I just kind of left it. But he was in serious condition too.
I was look okay on the body of myself. And I thought I was going to be fine. People thought I'm going to be fine. So they took me to the local clinic. As soon as I was brought there, my tummy was very swollen. Something wrong in me, inside my tummy. And the doctor began to say, no, I can't keep you here any longer. You must be sent to the city, to Phnom Penh. So suddenly, thank God, my friends have a car. By accident, he got on that way as well. So he took me to the hospital in the city.
I was taken to Bangkok hospital, and then I found out that my legs were pretty smashed up. I had broken both my legs, one in 4 places, the other one 3. I had several breaks in my pelvis, and I broke my neck in 2 places. If it was just a little bit more, I would have been paralyzed. Then I was taken to Bangkok hospital. Dave Fisher went with the flight there, and I appreciate him. He's a nurse, so he knows what needs to be done. So he made sure that I was taken good care of. I know there was times that I felt like I was dying.
Back then, I was with one of my older sister with me, and as she approached the doctor in that hospital, they come to see me. They say, "Oh, this guy is fine. He's okay." They said he's okay. He stayed there, no problem. We'll come back to him. It took them a few hours until, I think the accident, I still remember, around morning. So the doctor came to see me, and then he began to say, how come you keep this patient for too long? He's dying now. But you know what? It saw us first, but it didn't really come and care for us. But a few hours later, until some of the family and some pastor from New Life Fellowship go and beg them, can you come and see the patient? And then they began to complain, why you keep this patient for so long like that? He's dying now. They decided to prepare me to do for surgery, open up, because I got internal bleeding. They took me to the surgery room. They took them about 4 hours until up to 11 o'clock. But in between of those times, they keep asking the blood donation, the blood transfusion. They keep asking from one to another, until the blood number 14. So when the blood 14 bag came, the doctor still knocked their head like this, said, sorry, we try our best. Now we finish our job. Now the patient out. And the doctor said, to be honest, the patient, there's very have small chance to live, even though we all do our best. So they said they do our best already, but sorry, the patient might not be make it overnight. Don't wasting any more money. Keep the money for funeral ceremony. That's when broke my family. That's when my dad was beginning to cry, and my whole family beginning to pass the word around and cry all of these things. And Pastor Pross had to call the village church to get prepared. Pekre is going to be home, but body, But the last word that I still remember till today, one of the pastor, his name is Tain Sadun. Back then he was one of the campus pastor in Life Fellowship. He already took the truck. He took the truck to prepare and get the body already. But what he said to the family back then, he said that I know that the doctor said there's no hope. The doctor said there's no hope. But you know what? Why don't we give God a chance? You know, something's going on, something clicked, something's going on in that turning around. You know, I think nearly past overnight already, around midnight, my heart was kind of like survived by the oxygen. That night, for some reason, there were so many, you know, street accidents and require a lot of oxygen machine. Because the doctor said, I'm not gonna make it overnight. They said, they need to take oxygen from me so that they can do this oxygen to help other patients. That's when we feel shocked. I said, what? And then we beg the doctor again, please, can we keep this for another 20 minutes and so. Finally, they agree. They agreed to keep oxygen with me. You know, within 20 minutes, around past midnight that night. But and then my family asked, can we beg you for a few more minutes? I think that's when Pastor Chuck McCall still about that. He began to pray. He sent out prayer requests to like friends he's known in his emails box. When prayer rise up everywhere, internationally, friends locally, pastor, church leaders and family in church beginning to pray. Beginning something shift around overnights and beginning to see the good sign of my heartbeats. Beginning to hum back. When the doctor come back and monitor on me, they said, wait a minute, what's going on with this patient? We're not gonna take the oxygen away from him anymore. You know, amazingly, God has made me through the nights. God has been healing me.
I had to do a lot of healing, a lot of physical therapy. And, you know, I was bedridden for quite a while before I could even sit up. I was in traction for my head and being fitted for a halo. Pretty much bedridden for a while. Things started getting better after a few days. My parents were contacted. My sister Kathy and my brother Mike came to be with me for a couple weeks while I was still in Bangkok. And they kind of just worked out the situation. And when they felt that I was stable, then they returned back to Canada. They worked out a situation where I could get back to Canada, and they sent two nurses from churches that I attended when I was in Canada. And so those nurses came to Thailand and escorted me on a first-class flight back to Canada. So grateful for they voluntarily coming and doing that for me. And God kind of just worked out the situation. While I was back in Canada, I was in the halo for 3 months, and I wasn't walking for about the same time. Once the halo was taken off and I started walking, one day then I was sitting at the computer and then I got up. Then something else happened. My right leg just went off to the side. A plate broke. The plate broke in my leg. Had to go through that again, that I had to get surgery on that, have the steel plate removed, and then they put a rod into my leg. And I think that was like really hard because I was really looking forward to getting over this, but then I had this setback. But then, you know, God worked through that. I was able to heal. After a few months of therapy, then I was walking again.
And the doctor began to come back. When doctor began to still recognize one of my brother-in-law who was caring for me. And that doctor said, why are you still messing around here? I thought your brother has already died. And my brother-in-law said, no, he's still alive. No, he's still alive. And then that doctor who did surgery on me, and he was open the door and he banged and he pointing at me. I said, what? are you still alive? He said, you one out of millions people with this problem but still made it. Doctor said, wow, you made it. He thought that I was dying already, because he said your case is one of the rare, one of the hundreds of millions that could survive. But your God help you. That's what he said to me. He pointed to me like, your God help you. And then he began to say, okay, now you survive. I wanted to open up you again, because to be honest, he said to me, I'm not sure that you're gonna make it. Look at, if you would see my tummy right now, it is weird scar. Because they thought they just open up to satisfy my family, beg them to do the surgery, you know. They wanted to do a proper one and do stitching nicely, neatly. And then he said, there's a few things that I need to fix if you allow me to do again. And then I said, that's enough, doctor. That's enough. I'm survived already. I don't want to risk myself over there. So that I began to say, no, thank you so much, doctor. I'm survived already. You know, but he did mention this to me. I still remember in my head till right now. He said, okay, but you need to be aware that you might not be able to have baby, because when we cut you, we didn't think about other thing else. We thought just only to get your life is back. So about 1 month plus, I began to get strength recover. I began to get my body muscle recover and things like that. And then I began to dismiss from the hospital, and then I come home.
I was getting better. Youth with a Mission in British Columbia contacted me. They asked if I could help host another school, a primary healthcare school. And so I prayed about it and decided I would like to do that. And so I did, and they had a couple months, about 2 months and a half did their outreach in the Philippines. So I went there, and then from there I returned back to Cambodia, which was always on my heart to do. I came back, I met Pek Lay. He was doing fine, even though he nearly died. And God's really watched over us. And a lot of people didn't think that we were going to make it. It just shows you that if it's not your time, God's going to take care of you. But I just want to encourage you, you can trust God, and He will pull you through. I returned back to Cambodia. I met up with a lady that the whole time while I was in Canada, she was contacting me. In January 2006, I got married to Sophia. I had a family together. We have 2 boys and 1 girl, and I'm blessed to have them together for good. And we just thank you, God, for all His provisions and how He works through every situation.
I want to thank you, some people around those times, hardship, that people stood up as a family of Christ. Pastor Chuck McCall, I still wanted to thank you, him as well. I want to thank you, David Fisher and New Light Fellowship family, the whole crew over there. And I want to thank you, my family, who always support from years around. And also I wanted to thank you, my wife, Kuntia. You're the best. You married to the person who you think that you might not have kids, but God bless us already. Can't wait to do life together with you, Kuntia. And thank you so much for everyone. I hope this testimony will encourage you. This testimony will help you to stand strong back again in the midst of your darkness, because God is real and God can turn lives around. Thank you so much.